through our deliberations. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I'll now ask everyone to please stand for our national anthem. I will now appoint 2 scrutineers in case they are needed during today's meeting. Jeff Edwards, Superintendent of Learning Technologies, and Lisa Shimmons, the Associate Director of Business Affairs. We have received a letter from M. Rick O'Connor, the City Clerk and Solicitor for the City of Ottawa, stating the following. I hereby declare the following candidates having received the highest number of votes to be elected. Term of office, November 15th, 2022 to November 14th, 2026. Zone 1, Scott Phelan, elected. Zone 2, Sandra Moore, elected. Zone 3, Brian Coburn, elected. Zone 4, Spencer Warren, elected. Zone 5, Joanne McEwen, elected. Zone 6, Eugene Melito, elected. Zone 7, Jeremy Whittet, elected. Zone 8, Mark D. Mullen, elected. Zone 9, Shelley Lawrence, elected. Zone 10, Cindy DeCloud Simpson, elected. Signed by M. Rick O'Connor, City Clerk and Solicitor, dated October 28, 2022. We now move on to the swearing in and commissioning of the Catholic trustees. So I'm going to ask in a moment for all the trustees to stand at their place, and when I say go, you will recite your declaration and oath, not before that. Just because we are streaming the meeting, we will not have all the microphones on, so people online, you'll have to believe that they are swearing the oath. We will leave the one center microphone on, but everyone standing reciting the oath will not have their microphones on. So at this point, I will ask all trustees to stand. It's up to you. And I'd ask you to go ahead and read your oaths.
I, Mark Mullen, do solemnly declare that I'm not disqualified for any other being a member of the Ottawa Catholic School Board. Truly, faithfully, impartially, to the best of my ability, execute the office of board member, and I have not received and will not receive any payment, reward, or promise thereof for the exercise of impartiality or malversation or other undue execution of said office. And I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, as required in accordance with the municipal conflict of interest act.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask, for those that didn't do it, if you will also now go ahead with your oath of allegiance. And go ahead.
I, Mark Mullen, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, so help me God.
Thank you. Trustees, you may be seated. And for those that are online, you can be assured that not one trustee stumbled on the word malversation or on pecuniary interest. So well done to everyone. And this was the first group of trustees in the history of our board that did an oath of allegiance to a king. So congratulations to all of you. At this point in our ceremony, I will be calling each of the trustees in alphabetical order, and they will come to the vacant seat. So I'm going to have Mark just vacate in a moment. And they will be seated at this location. They will sign their official oath and declaration. We will have a picture taken right from the center. We'll go through each of the trustees, and then they will officially be sworn in. So in alphabetical order, our first trustee is Brian Coburn. So yeah, you just sign right there, and right there. We can clap after the official swearing in. Congratulations to Trustee Coburn. Trustee Sister Shelley Lawrence. Congratulations, Sister Shelley Lawrence. Trustee Joanne McEwen. Right there. Congratulations, Trustee McEwen. Trustee Eugene Melito. Perfect. We'll just look up. Congratulations, Trustee Eugene Melito. Trustee Sandra Moore. Right there. Congratulations, Trustee Moore. Trustee Mark Mullen. Congratulations, Trustee Mullen. Trustee Scott Phelan. Yeah, right there. Right there. And we'll just look up for a photo. Congratulations, Trustee Phelan. Trustee Cindy Simpson. Congratulations, Trustee Simpson. Trustee Spencer Warren. Congratulations, Trustee Spencer Warren. Trustee Jeremy Whittet. Congratulations, Trustee Jeremy Whittet. Now I would ask the trustees to please stand at their place, and Bishop Mathieu will commence with the commissioning of our Catholic trustees.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. God, our Father and Creator, we thank you for your gifts of creation. Jesus, Son of God, we thank you for your gift of salvation. Holy Spirit, Sanctifier, we thank you for the gift of your presence among us. We ask for your blessing as we prepare our trustees to renew their commitment to the Catholic education. We recognize their need for your guidance and their decision-making. We ask for your strength to help them to fulfill their mandate of serving the staff and students in our Catholic schools. Trustees, please, is that me or you? Yeah, okay. Trustees, please join me in reading our school board's mission statement. This will remind us of our ongoing commitment to Catholic education. The mission of the Ottawa Catholic School Board is to provide all our students with a well-rounded education for the mind, body, and spirit through an emphasis on academic excellence, social responsibility, and Catholic values. St. Thomas Aquinas, patron saint of Catholic schools, we ask for your assistance as we work to support Catholic education. May we continue to spread the good news of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
And trustees can now be seated, and we'll move on to the nomination of the chairperson. Following the receipt of an electronic nomination on October 27, 2022, Trustee Mark Mullen has been nominated by Trustee Lawrence and seconded by Trustee Simpson. Trustee Mullen has agreed to have his name stand for nomination of chairperson. I am pleased to confirm that by acclamation, Trustee Mullen has been elected as chairperson of the Ottawa Catholic School Board for the term November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. Congratulations to Chairperson Mullen. I will now turn over the running of the meeting to the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Following the receipt of the nomination on October 27, 2022, Trustee Cindy Simpson has been nominated by Trustee Lawrence, seconded by Trustee Coburn. Trustee Simpson has agreed to have her name stand for the nomination of Vice Chair. If there's only one, as there is only one candidate, they are acclaimed, and then there's no sorry, I'm reading the part in brackets you're not supposed to read. I am pleased to confirm by acclamation Trustee Simpson has been elected as Vice Chair of the Ottawa Catholic School Board for the term November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. Congratulations, Cindy. So now we have election and appointment of trustees to board committees, the statutory committees and candidacy lists. I believe there are no elections and everybody has worked out their positions on all the committees, so we can move them. We'll do the statutory committees first, and then we'll move to the other committees. So I need a mover and seconder, please. Trustee McEwen. Seconded by Trustee Warren. That the proposed membership of the following statutory committees for the year 2023 be approved en bloc. Audit Committee, Parent Involvement Committee, Special Education Advisory Committee, Student Suspension and Expulsion Committee, and the Supervised Alternative Learning Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Membership on these committees is listed in the agenda and on the screens. Item 2, other committees and candidacy lists. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee Lawrence. And Trustee Simpson. That the proposed membership of the following other committees for 2023 be approved en bloc. Director of Education's Performance Appraisal, Honors and Awards Committee, Policy and Procedures Steering Committee, Trustee Support Services Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Membership on those committees as well as listed on the screens. Affiliated organizations and candidacy lists. Can I have a mover again, please? Trustee Fallon. Seconded by Trustee Melito. That the proposed membership of the following affiliated organizations for 2023 be approved en bloc. The Catholic Education Foundation of Ottawa, the Ottawa Catholic Child Care Corporation, and the Ottawa Student Transportation Authority. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. So we're skipping all the voting because everybody's in. Moving to the election results into the records of the board. Can I have a mover that we move the election results into the board minutes, please? Trustee Coburn and Trustee Moore. That the election results as confirmed by the trustees be entered into the record as follows. Chair, Trustee Mark Mullen. Vice Chair, Trustee Cindy Simpson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Destruction, there's no destruction, there's no ballots. Designation of signing officers for the board. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee McEwen. And Trustee Warren. That in accordance with board policy and procedural bylaw number 12.01, the following individuals be appointed as signing officers for the board for the period indicated. Mark Mullen, Chairperson, November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. Cindy Simpson, Vice Chair, November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. Thomas D'Amico, Secretary Treasurer, November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. Mary Donahue, Assistant Secretary, November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. Lisa Shimmons, Assistant Treasurer, November 15, 2022 to November 14, 2023. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Acknowledgements of the board auditor and appointment of the board banker and legal counsel. The Ottawa Catholic School Board Audit Committee at its meeting on April 27, 2021, approved the appointment of Deloitte LLP as the board's external audit services provider for a 5-year term commencing with August 31st, 2021 fiscal year end. So appointment of the board banker. Can I get a mover, please? Trustee Coburn? Seconded. Trustee Moore? That the National Bank of Canada be reappointed as the board's banker for the year ending December 31st, 2023. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Appointment of legal counsel. Mover, Trustee Melito. Seconder, and Trustee Fallon. That the following 3 law firms be reappointed as board legal counsel for the year ending December 31st, 2023. Bordner, Ladner, Gervais, LLP, Eamon Harden, LLP, Nelligan O'Brien, Payne, LLP. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item L, recognition of the 2021-2022 Chair and Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank yourself, Chair Mullen, for your dedication and service to the board this past year. I would also like to thank Vice Chair Jeremy Whittet for his leadership and support, and I am pleased to present Vice Chairperson Whittet with a gift of appreciation in recognition for his service as Vice Chair over the past year. So thank you to Vice Chair Whittet.
Item M, address by newly elected Vice Chairperson.
That's me.
That's you?
It's not flashing. It's working?
There we go.
Even though I have no light? Yes. Good evening, everyone. Bishop Matthew, Senior Exec Staff and Director D'Amico, and our special guests and my fellow trustees. My husband's sitting in the audience with a keep it brief, Cindy look on his face, so I'm going to do my very best to accommodate him. First, I'd like to congratulate all of my fellow trustees on their successful elections and thank them for putting their trust in me as their vice chair, with special thanks going to Trustee Lawrence and Trustee Coburn for nominating me. I will do my best to honor their trust by being available, supporting my chair, Mark, and working jointly with our Director of Education, Senior Administration, and staff. As most of you know, my background in education is a Catholic teacher, principal, and executive director of an organization that tackled poverty, infant, child, and youth mental health, and academic success has given me a unique perspective to contribute to decision-making at the board level. Over the last 4 years, I have witnessed authentic collaboration between our trustees and our senior exec team, the resourcefulness of staff and teachers, the resilience of students, and the flexibility of parents. I am truly blessed to be part of this community. Dr. Jean Clinton states that every child should have someone's eyes light up when they enter a room. I hope to be one of those people, along with my fellow trustees. Supporting spiritual growth, academic excellence, and personal well-being is why we're all here. Witnessing the joy that comes with the love of learning and the I get it moment is just one of those side benefits. My aspirations for the next year is to continue to build a strong sense of team, capable of navigating the complexities of hopefully post-academic COVID world and the challenges that have arisen because of it. At the same time, infusing it with a bit of humor and camaraderie wouldn't hurt either. There's lots of work to be done, so let's get at it.
Thank you, Cindy. Bishop Mathieu, Reverend Fathers, invited guests, my fellow trustees, board staff, parents, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I have a number of people that I'd like to thank for helping me get here tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank my wife, Brenda, for her unending support in my pursuit of this trustee's position, who, side by side, we delivered flyers door to door. Thank you, Brenda. I could not have done it without your love and support. Our kids are here this evening. It's my two daughters, Megan and Morgan, and my son, Michael, and his wife, Wallace, my mom and dad, and my sister, Emer, who all helped me immensely. Thank you for all your love and support. I will be as choked up for the next 9 names, although I love you all. I would like to congratulate Jeremy, Cindy, Sandra, Sister Shelley, Spencer, Brian, Joanne, Gino, and Scott on your successful elections, and I'd like to congratulate Cindy on being elected as the board vice chair. I want to thank you for your support, your vote of confidence, and your continued trust in me by electing me as your chair. I'm very proud and honored to sit in this seat again. I would like to thank each of my fellow trustees personally for all of your hard work that you bring to the board table and your continued dedication and your commitment to Catholic education. We will make a great team working together, with each trustee bringing their knowledge, expertise, life experience, and opinions to the board table for open, fruitful discussion on the issues. I'm looking forward to working alongside each one of you for the next 4 years and continue to deliver the best Catholic education possible to all our 46,000 Ottawa Catholic School Board students. Thank you, and stay safe. Get vaccinated as well. Now the director is going to present the annual report. Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It'll just take me a second to share my screen. So as it's loading and the mirror feature is being enacted, I also do want to thank a few people before I start the annual report, certainly to Stephanie and Robin, who put together tonight's AGM and inaugural meeting. I do want to thank them for all the work in getting out invitations, preparing everything, so thank you very much to Stephanie and Robin. I know you can't see everyone in the crowd, but it's wonderful to have people here to help us celebrate, lots of family members. We also have our parents' associations represented from PIC and from SEAC and from CSPA, so thank you very much to our parents for your continued support. We really appreciate it. And we have several union partners as well that work hand in hand with the board to try and keep things running smoothly with the board and all of our employees. So thank you to all of our union partners. And for the director's annual report, all the heavy lifting was certainly done by our communications department. I won't name them individually other than the manager, Charlene Hunter, but they've put in all kinds of hours in doing a great job capturing what happened last year, and that's what I'm about to present, is everything that took place last year, but it was thanks to the great work of our communications department team that put this together. So thank you for their efforts. So when you do get to the main screen for our, which we will release after the meeting, so this is, no one has seen this yet, you're the first to see our annual report. When I go to the main part of our annual report, I'm going to come to the home page and you'll see the director's annual report. There's some fabulous photos of all of our students throughout the annual report. Of course, the very first thing I know everyone's going to want to go to is the director and chairperson message. So you'll quickly click on that and you'll see two lovely images. I won't read the whole letter, but I will comment, one of the comments that mentions, we thank all of our Board of Trustees, this is last year's trustees, for their unwavering support of Catholic education, as well as their partnership and the partnerships we're fortunate to have with the diocese, and with our parishes, our families, and our schools. We also lost a dear trustee and friend last year, so we do have a dedication for the mourning of the loss of Trustee John Curry, and you can read the dedication there. Our superintendents from last year do a great amount of work, and I want to recognize everything that they do as leaders throughout our board. So you'll see last year's team and last year's trustees, including our 2 student trustees from last year. So that's what you'll find under the director chairperson message. If you want to look at who we are, you'll see a very quick picture of deep learning. You'll see some highlights of 85 schools in our board. Last year, we supported 45,786 students in Catholic education. We had almost 5,000 employees. And the budget that was passed by last year's trustees is for this year, but last year's trustees passed a $619 million budget. So we are a large operation. You'll be able to read a little more about our strategic commitments: be community, be well, and be innovative. As well, last year we introduced our new 3-year spiritual theme. Gratitude rooted in joy fills us with hope. We definitely needed that during the pandemic, and last year we really focused on gratitude. You'll be able to read a little bit more about our deep learning and global competencies that we want to see all of our students excel in. If you then move to our achievements, if you really only have 3 minutes, then you can go to the executive summary. And in the executive summary, you'll be able to see what we did last year. Some real big highlights in terms of Catholic education matters and how we made that a real important part of the City of Ottawa. How we focused on gratitude last year. That deep learning made a difference even during the pandemic. How we valued those global competencies, especially collaboration, creativity, innovative thinking. We know last year health and safety was on everyone's mind, so we talked about how we were responsible with that stewardship. Relationships were a key throughout our board last year, and that's how we made it through the second year of the pandemic. Behind the scenes, mental health was forefront both in our schools, in front of the scenes, but also behind the work of our clinicians, our student services, student success departments, also focusing on mental health and everything they did. Continuing education is not an add-on in our board. Continuing education provides an important service to many students, international students, ELL, ESL, and adult learners throughout our board. We connected digitally, and thanks to the digital infrastructure that our trustees have supported over the years, we were able to educate during the pandemic. We continued to focus on outdoor learning last year. We are very proud of the 2 virtual schools that trustees supported and kept going. And during all the stresses, we kept the lights on, we paid the bills. That was important. And we focused on joy wherever we could, hope. And then we're proud of how we explored everything last year during the pandemic. So that's the 2-minute version, but I'm going to give you the 20-minute version. I may cut it down to 15. I go to our achievements. I'm going to look at some specific achievements for Be Community. Again, some wonderful photos that remind us why we're all stewards in education. We gathered in faith for the first time in 3 years. We were able to celebrate in May at the Notre Dame Cathedral Basilica with Archbishop Marcel Danfous, and of course later on you'll see my second message here. We welcomed Auxiliary Bishop Yvon Mathieu to our community in Ottawa, Cornwall, and many of us were able to be there for the installation of him as a bishop. Mark Mullen last year was elected to be the representative for all of Ontario on the Ontario Catholic Trustee Association, but he was also voted to be the representative for the Canadian Catholic School Trustee Association. So we're fortunate to have Mark as a leader in Catholic education. Lots of work has been happening in our board in terms of equity, diversity, and inclusion, and you'll see a link when you do have the time to explore to our entire EDI framework. So if you click on the link, you'll see that we continued the work last year and we updated our framework from 2021 to 2024. We did our first ever student census and staff census last year, and we'll be sharing some of those results at our November 29th board meeting, should you wish to attend again. We made sure parents had a voice, and we're so fortunate, as I mentioned, to have 3 very strong parent associations who support not just the parents and our students, but also staff right across our board. We were asked to introduce tutoring last year. We hired over 400 tutors to provide support to all of our students in schools, and that was done in a very quick timeline. Many boards have declining enrollment, and many boards that have increased enrollment are not getting funded for new schools. Thanks to the advocacy of our parent groups, our school councils, our trustees, and the work of our Planning and Facilities Department, we're building 4 new elementary schools. So you'll see in the highlights that we have a new school in Fernbank, Barrhaven South, and we'll also be building in Finley Creek and Riverside South. So those are a couple of achievements under B Community. Under B Innovative, putting students in charge. We have a very strong social entrepreneurship program. And when you look at the dimensions of a Catholic school system, it's different. It's not just teaching entrepreneurship, but we're basing our entrepreneurship on Catholic social teachings and how students are doing good. They're maybe raising monies, but they're also selecting charities, and they're looking at why they're raising money. Where does it fit into the Catholic social teachings and the gospel values? We had wonderful STEAM weeks, and we had wonderful career weeks last year run by our Student Success Department. You likely heard in the last 2 years the ministry wanted to have a focus on e-learning. We've been doing e-learning in Ottawa Catholic School Board since 2013. We have over 100 teachers that are trained in delivering e-learning. Our innovative and professional development opportunities, we have such a dedicated staff. Every summer, we have over 850 staff taking part, and the sessions that are run are delivered by our own staff, the far majority. We had 67 sessions last year in August being run to support our students. And then we have specialized roles like learning partners, graduation coach for Black students, and we introduced a lead ECE, early childhood educator, to work with the ECEs in our board who are valued team members with our kindergarten teachers. So those are a few of the achievements in Be Innovative. When you look at Be Well, we continued our focus on mental health, and I won't open it up, but there's a link to our mental health strategy 2021 to 2024. We continued to work on support for our Indigenous students, and our trustees did pass a brand new Indigenous education framework, so that will run from this year, 2022 to 2025. And you'll see in that framework all kinds of activities and supports that we have. We continued to work on outdoor education last year. That was largely through the Ministry of Education grant, which was not a huge amount, but we were happy to receive it for outdoor education. And we continued to promote the environment throughout our schools. So again, just a few of our achievements. The financials, I already mentioned our budget that was passed by our trustees, $619 million. We could only do that because of the fiscal responsibility and oversight that the trustees provide. We've been a board that year over year passes a balanced budget, and where possible, we build our reserves. So those reserves are there to help out when needed, as they were during COVID, when we borrowed $11 million to run our virtual schools that first year. They continue to be supportive through our financial stewardship. And if you run to this page, you will quickly see all the different areas that the trustees approved for this year to fund those commitments to diversity and equity, to fund our strategic commitments, to support Indigenous students in the community, to show their true commitment to mental health, our commitment to skilled trades. We saw the report on reading interventions, and we passed in our budget more support to get not only tutors, but to get qualified teachers that can support our students in reading. And last year, our Board of Trustees approved drawing down from reserves $7.5 million, $2.5 million this year, $2.5 million next year, and the following year to continue to build our outdoor learning spaces throughout our schools, including Wi-Fi when the students are outdoors. Now, what I really wanted to get to were the stories, because that's everything that's happening at the board level throughout our system. But when you get to the student level and are in our schools, that's where we really are showing our commitments. So I will whip through these ones as well. Let's start with All Saints students. When we were looking at what was happening in the Ukraine, 70 students, artists in our schools from All Saints were involved in creating these pieces of art. They then sold them. They raised over $8,000 to make a donation and to raise awareness. This is a student stepping up for mental health. So this is a mental health kit, and it was students from St. Josephine Virtual High School that put together these physical kits from their Healthy Living and Personal Fitness Activities course. And they sold the kits to raise money to donate to CHEO, and they provided these stress relief and anxiety relief activities throughout our system. So great activity of how they're living out our commitments and our focus on mental health and well-being. One of my favorite activities from last year was a huge one, and you may not have heard this, but it was a large event. Thanks to Tara Potter, one of our consultants. We had over 2,000 students from 113 elementary schools who took part in 2 online activities with an expert from Carleton University. He was Dr. Smith. He's an expert in terms of pollination and bees. So he taught them all about how important the bees are to our world and what's happening. Our students then took to their computer expertise and they used Minecraft to build virtual gardens to look at what would be needed to have those bees come back. And you'll see some of the photos of the work that our students were doing across the system. And then many of them also moved to the physical world and built gardens at their school. So just a wonderful deep learning activity, something they'll always remember. Our focus on equity, here's one example from one school. I could have brought 84 more, but this was St. Luke School-Wide Equity Journey. So the staff at the school continued to celebrate who the students were at their school through book clubs, understanding whole school initiatives. Their staff were devoted meeting times to look at anti-bias, anti-racist language. They helped students, staff, and families to identify more ways to say, what can we do to be more inclusive in our school? And they worked with their school council. We continue to be leader in conservation right across the province. So I won't go through all of the highlights, but I can tell you that we were number 3 in the province for energy conservation. We were number 1 in the province for school boards that have 80 or more schools. And that's great work, not just for our planning facilities staff, which is where it starts, but it's a commitment right across the board from all of our staff and students to conserve and to protect the environment. So congratulations on that award and recognition. We were the second school board in all of Canada to look at a new tool called, get the name correctly, I was going to say Bitmoji, but it's Binoji. So Binoji. So Binoji takes video lessons for any subject area, and it offers them in multiple languages. So when we have our ELL students and they're being taught a concept, they can go to Binoji, take that concept and learn it in their own language to complement what's happening in the class. It was a pilot last year and it is very successful. It's continuing this year. This is a Sacred Heart teacher from last year. Now she's at the board office, but last year was her first year teaching religion, and she won the very first ever Seeds of Hope New Teacher Award for Excellence in Teaching Religious and Family Life from Carfleo. So it was a great honor, first time they ever offered the award, and it went to one of our staff members, and now she's working in our religious education department as a consultant this year, supporting elementary schools. Here you'll see a wonderful mural from St. Peter's High School. They were looking at diversity and equity and how do they support everyone in their school. So they ended up going out and hiring a local artist, a black artist, Jimmy Baptiste. He focuses on bringing people together, and he worked with the students to say, what does equity mean to you? What's inclusion mean? And they designed the concepts, and then they each took part in this beautiful mural that now when they walk into their learning commons, they can all feel accepted and included, and they can talk about the dignity of the human person, everyone in that school. Some of our international students in politics are now outgoing mayor, but this is a student from St. Mother Teresa who took part in a day meeting with the mayor and meeting with local politicians. You may recognize this individual. At the time, it was the Royal Highnesses, the Princess of Wales, the Duchess of Cornwall. They visited Assumption School, and there's a couple of wonderful photos that you may recognize some other people. As we go through here, you can see the security detail that was in place for Chair Mark Mullen when he arrived at the school. And you probably can't see it in the small photo, but there we have Superintendent Sean Kelly, who has not washed his hands since. We have Trustee Cindy Simpson, and at the time Chair, and now Chair Mark Mullen, who visited Assumption School for part of that important celebration. They were looking at Indigenous education and how they can also support newcomers. So it was a wonderful visit. When we look at the work that we've continued to do with Indigenous education and our role in reconciliation, there's so many great examples across our board, including many deep learning activities. This example here is Heart to Art, how they honor Turtle Island. And what they did was they had students from St. Thomas More who put their handprint into clay. They then sent the clay handprints to Immaculata High School, where the art teacher and the grade 12 students created hopscotch using all of these activities so the students could learn about Turtle Island. At the same time, both grade 12s and the younger students were learning about Indigenous culture and doing their peace and reconciliation. So just some marvelous artwork that's created by our very own students. And another example of deep learning where you're involving students from multiple schools, multiple grades, doing an activity that they will always remember, not just doing it for the test. To infinity and beyond, there were 2 projects in Canada accepted to go on the space shuttle, Cubes in Space program. They were both from our board, from our PGL schools. I don't understand what they did, so you're going to have to read it and try and figure out the biodiversity and what they did working with, again, some partners, but it had to do with radiation's effect on the molecular structure of the EpiPen solution in pure epinephrine. All right, so it was really good what they did. So it was wonderful that those 2 projects came right from our board, from our students. We've continued to grow our international programs, and including our international language program for our students right here in Ottawa. So here you see Marianne, Manager of Continuing Community Education, and this article talks about the many languages that we teach both in the summer and as well our international language program and cultural programs on the weekends that we offer. St. George Elementary School, they wanted to look at their outside and create some calming spaces, but they went well beyond. So they never dreamed that their initial idea would grow into a school-wide initiative, sprouting learning activities in every classroom. They also linked with Indigenous partners. They wanted areas where they could have prayerful activities, and they worked with different partners, and they created a peace garden. And you can see some of the outcomes of their work. And this says, the teachings of respect, I'm respectful of God's creations. So wonderful activity at that school. We also had 3 schools, or it might have been more, but this article highlights Guardian Angels, Dr. F.J. McDonald, and St. Martin de Porres School. They participated in an elders and artist residency program. So they linked with local elders and then with artists to create these murals to look at how do we bring to life the cultures of the Indigenous and to understand some of our true history and what we can do for the future. So a wonderful learning activity, and you'll see a few of the murals. There is a video there from one of the elders and residents. Girls Who Game, and this is not about our trustee, but this is from one of our schools. Blessed Carlo was the first OCSB group to participate in the Dell Technologies, Microsoft, and Intel's Girls Who Game program. They won the Communication Award for designing a factory. This is on Minecraft. So they designed a factory to recycle crayons into reusable items. And one of our students was chosen to speak at their year-end closing ceremonies. So just amazing work happening. Our adult learners I mentioned, so here we have another photo of one of our adult learning programs, English as a second language, but we also have programs for instruction for newcomers to Canada. We work with the federal government for LINK, adult learning and skills development. We continue to see growth both in virtual and in person where possible. We increased our ESL night classes, our summer programs, and we introduced entrepreneurship programs. We partnered with the Catholic Centre for Immigrants, with OCSO, St. Lawrence College, Pinecrest Queensway Employment Centre. Just amazing programs. And I know some of our trustees that took part in the graduation ceremonies last year. St. Pat's High School students, we have two schools that were part of a Sienna Solutions challenge. So they partnered with Sienna, and at St. Pat's High School, they focused on mental health and awareness for their students. So they created, working with volunteers and working with partners from Sienna during Mental Health Week, a website for all the students at the school where the students could visit. Hopefully it's not gonna go to the page, but they created a website where every student could go when they need support and be directed to the right resources that they might need. Here we have grade 1 students involved in a journey to reconciliation. We also want to recognize the teacher in this one, Barbara Ann Giroux. She is named as a 2022 Governor General's History Award for Excellence. And there you see Spirit Bear, where the students were tasked with creating learning activities to teach the bear about Indigenous culture. And the students were very involved. They then wanted to share it with the world and share it with the rest of their school. So they then got involved in deep learning activities to continue that messaging. I mentioned earlier our international student program. Here's some of our international students taking part in different activities. Besides these activities in their school, there were pizza parties, they attended Red Black games. They didn't get to see a win, but they did attend some games. Horseback riding, Canadian winter adventures. And what I'm really pleased to say is we have students now from 45 countries around the world that are coming to be in our board to be educated. So the reputation of Ottawa Catholic School Board continues to be shared around the world, and we really benefit from the diversity and the expertise and culture they bring to our schools. This is one of our own staff. So this is a staff member, and her family. This is Sue Zentek, who happens to be the executive assistant in learning technologies. And Sue and her family were homestay, so they welcomed a student to stay with them during the year. Talking about community, so look what can happen when you build community. St. Joseph Virtual High School, they wanted to get involved in some charitable work. They picked Relay for Life, and together through virtual runs, they raised $9,000 to donate to a wonderful cause that has touched all of our schools. So you can learn more about that article. So here we have another deep learning activity. It involved the entire school, every student in the school, looking at how do we make a mascot? What should be the mascot? They got to decide on different options to research and then present at different grade levels, then vote, and they ended up with the mascot of the panther. And then working with a local partnership, the partner paid for a t-shirt for every single student in that school, so they all could have a student shirt that showed the mascot that they could be proud of. And we have a picture of the principal with the mascot. Here we have one of our many Lent projects that took place. So Live Lent with Love and Gratitude. This was at Monsignor Paul Baxter School, elementary school. And they wanted to look at what it meant to be a global citizen, but both in your local community of Barrhaven and also globally. So they looked at different activities where they could support local food banks in Barrhaven, and they also supported a school in Kenya. So just wonderful activity during Lent, and we had Lenten activities right across the board at all of our schools, and just wonderful teaching activities for our Catholic students. Going back to Assumption, this was another community partnership, learning partnership, donated to the globalvendinggroup.com. So this is full of in books, largely focusing Indigenous, but there's other areas of supporting different cultures. And students are rewarded with tokens. They can go to the vending machine, put in the token, and they receive a book that they can take home. So a wonderful partnership. Trustees have already seen a presentation on our tech trailer, but this is a little more detail for those that haven't seen it. Our staff created a tech trailer to promote the trades and the arts, and this travels to all of our schools to show the different trades that are available and wonderful careers in the trades, and they focus currently on the grade 10s with this particular tech trailer. In the board office, right when you come in, when you came into the boardroom today, you would have passed a closed door. That closed door leads to our Family Welcome Center. Family Welcome Center is so important for newcomer families. So when newcomers come to Canada, and often through the Catholic Immigration Center, they're directed to our board. We don't just send them to a school. We meet with them. We explain a lot about the system. We provide supports. Some, but not all, students need language support. Some, but not all, students have experienced trauma and need additional supports. So we have a fabulous newcomer center, welcome center, and we highlighted the work of one of our multicultural liaison officers, Janet Torres Rodriguez, in this article. We've done a lot of work to promote and celebrate Black excellence. We still have to focus on anti-racist work, anti-Black racism, but we're also moving more towards celebrating Black excellence. So this article talks about our Black student associations in all of our high schools. Our trustees approved thousands of dollars to support each of the schools, so they didn't have to spend their time fundraising and can move right away into supporting initiatives at their school. It also talks about the Black Student Forum and the Black Student Advisory Council. I won't play the video, but that's a piece of artwork, and you know you can't see it, but each one of these is individual pieces that tells a story about Black excellence, and this is hanging on the walls, created by the students at Immaculata High School. So it's just some fabulous work by our students. And last year's 2 student trustees who presented locally, but also provincially at different conferences, they were great ambassadors for our board. One of our many partners, Let's Talk Science, so we invite them into many of our classes where we're bringing in experts to support the work in our schools. Besides the academics, obviously, we have many athletes who have excelled. We have 2 former students from St. Pat's High School that are in the NFL, and they come back to their school to give back, to meet with students, and to talk about the positive influence they had when they grew up in Ottawa and they attended St. Pat's High School. Here's another partnership, Save the Sea. This is Notre Dame students with Sienna, and they looked at working both the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup, the ocean cleanup, but also with Ottawa River Keep. St. Josephine created a new logo and a new mascot, and just to show the type of thought that goes into the logo, when you're looking at that particular logo, there's the computer screen on the outside, there's the cross on the inside to show our Catholic faith, and they also wanted to feature the headwear that St. Josephine, who is a Black patron saint, used to wear. So that's what the side logo is showing. That's representing the headdress. So they researched the saint, and they came up with a wonderful logo, and that's what they came up with the other mascot. I'm getting there. I didn't want to miss the stories. There's too many great ones. So just a couple more to highlight. St. Pius built an Indigenous outdoor classroom. So again, great work. And this showing deep learning, it involved the tech department, art department, contemporary studies, and English classes. And they created a wonderful outdoor education space. And you've heard already about the work that we've done to enhance air quality throughout our system. So over $15 million has gone into improving air qualities. So that was one start. This article is If You Build It, They Will Come. So another outdoor learning space at St. Francis Xavier High School. And this was done through a partnership with local landscapers, with colleges and high schools, and they applied for a grant and they were the successful winner. And you can read about how they also connected with Indigenous workers in that area. And last one, Frank Ryan. Frank Ryan, a 7-8 standalone school, our only standalone school left in grade 7-8. Over the years, they've worked on their turkey trot, and as of last year, their total hit $1 million. So just amazing fundraising activities for that school that has gone to many different deserving charities. So that, Mr. Chair, is a highlight of what happened last year in your school board, and I hope you're all very proud of the work that's happened, both with your leadership, all of the leaders centrally, but also the work of our student and staff right across the board. And that ends this year's Director's Annual Report.
Thank you very much, Mr. D'Amico. Can I have a mover to receive the report, please? Trustee Lawrence and Trustee Coburn. That the 2022 annual report by the Director of Education be received. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And it's bewitching time, 8:01. Can I have a mover, please? Everybody will put their hand up for this one. It's a motion to adjourn. Trustee Moore and Trustee Fallon, that the inaugural board meeting of the November 15, 2022 board meeting be adjourned at 8:01 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. You're all invited to stay for the reception. We don't usually get applause after our meeting. Everybody's welcome to stay. There is some finger food and drinks, so please stick